press record. All right. So today our workshop is all about how and what to measure when it comes to progress in your yoga practice. So the reason why I chose this topic for this month is because you're about a month in, and you're maybe wondering, maybe you're not seeing results or feeling the results that you expected. Maybe you had different expectations. And so this is really to help create a measurement that works for you, to understand all of the different ways that we can measure progress in our practice and really choose what works for you, what's best for you. So we are going to go through all of the different things that can be measured. So I have it broken down to physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and overall wellness. And then we're going to go through how you can measure those things. So if you don't already have a pen and piece of paper, I invite you to go grab that. We won't really need it until the end of class, but you might want that. And then also, or you can make a note on your phone, you can make a note on your computer, whatever works for you. I'm just going to double check my, you can make a note. There we go. Okay. So my volume is working. I'm super paranoid now. Okay. So let's hop right into it. I have some slides to share, so I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to start just by touching on what I really want you to see, but I have to see what you can see actually. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me through this beautiful technological experience. There we go. That's what I want you to see. Okay. So here we are. Like I said, this is what we're going to go through. Okay. So I'm going to go through 5 different things that you can measure, ways that you can measure, aspects that you can measure. So physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and overall wellness. And then the how you measure is journaling, consistency, commitments, create a ritual or routine, and then get the support that you need. So hopping right in first to the physical. Physical can be the easiest. Oh, come on. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. Get this set up. See how that looks. Okay, so physical is the easiest to measure. And your body is your greatest guide into your physical practice. So really like leaning into the body as a guide and letting that motivate you. So get curious about your body. This leads to body awareness. Body awareness, the beautiful thing about body awareness is you can take that awareness off of your mat. And body awareness is something that's measurable. You can measure that through how you feel your body, like how your body feels, not your emotional state, not what you think you feel, but how your body actually feels. And you can come into your practice and you feel the sensation in your forward fold. From your first forward fold to your last forward fold, you can feel the difference in your practice. You can feel the difference in your body. And so utilizing that as a measurement. So coming to your mat, knowing that each day you're different and coming into your first forward fold. How does that feel in your hamstrings? How does that feel in your hips, your lower back, and your spine? How does that feel in your shoulders? Getting present, then noticing at the end of class how that feels, how that last forward fold feels, and observing the difference. So that's a measurement from the beginning of the class to the end of class. You can also notice it from class to class as you progress in and through your postures, noticing how you can take it deeper, noticing how you can go beyond where you were previously limited. Another is becoming aware of your body, intense and subtle sensations. So those sensations, some postures, you'll feel a very intense sensation in the body, and that's easy, again, to identify. But starting to identify the more subtle sensations. So noticing how the lungs fill, noticing how the lung capacity actually expands as you deepen your practice, as you get consistent in your practice, something measurable. Noticing, counting your breaths, your inhale, noticing how much air you can take in, how much you can expand the lungs, and then how slowly you can release. That's something that's measurable. Observe changes I already went over that. So it's also about being aware of your body on and off your mat. So as you're sitting at your desk throughout the day and, you're typing away, you're doing your thing and noticing, do you have more energy throughout the day? Do you feel more limber? Do you feel more mobile as you go throughout your day? That is another way that you can measure your yoga practice. Do you feel, less tightness in your hips as you go throughout the day? Do you feel less tightness in the back? Being aware, having the body awareness of when you're working, do you feel your shoulders slumping forward? Feel that, then correct it. Roll those shoulders back and continue grounding down into your sitting bones, really lengthening the spine, having the awareness that the shoulders are rolling forward. So good. So you can measure your flexibility. You can measure your mobility, your movement, your ease of movement. You can measure the release that you have as you're in postures. So maybe your edge when you're in half pigeon is, you can only have your palms on the floor and your chest needs to stay lifted. And then as you move forward through your practice, you're able to release deeper into the pose. That's a measurement. That's a form of measuring your progress in your practice. Tension, noticing tension, but also having the ability and the awareness of how to release tension in the body and using the practice to do so. Again, that's a measurement. How much tension do I feel in my body from one day to the next, from the morning to the night, from before my practice to after my practice, from the beginning, the first forward fold, through to the last forward fold. Noticing the amount of energy that you have throughout the day. That's another great measurement to understand how your practice is doing, how you're doing within your practice. Getting consistent, as you get consistent, you'll notice that your energy levels increase. I definitely have noticed for myself that starting my day with that 30-minute practice I have no lag in the afternoon. You know, that afternoon slump where you get a little, your mind starts to have difficulty focusing and you're like, man, I just can't be productive. That 30-minute practice has helped me overcome that because my energy levels are increasing, because my body is working more efficiently. I'm removing the blocks. I'm getting my spinal fluid moving. I'm preparing my body for the day. So that's really why that consistency of your practice is so important. And that's when you'll really experience it ripple out into the full day, into your life, into your relationships. Repetition, noticing how easy or difficult it is for you to continuously do something. So our strength class, I know that you'll feel your muscles, you'll feel yourself getting stronger. And that's an easy way, to measure, but also noticing, are you tired by the 3rd rep, the 5th rep, the 8th rep? And when we do warrior 1, warrior 2, our chaturangas over and over and over again, is it getting easier as we repeat the practice? Sensation in the body, that is measurable. And again, that's measurable from the beginning of class to the end of class, from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. All of these things are ways that you can measure your yoga practice in order to stay motivated, in order to stay inspired. Noticing your heart rate, noticing your breath. I went through breath a little earlier. Your digestion. Are you more regular now that you've started your yoga practice? That is definitely a measurement. Digestion. Balance. Noticing if you feel more stable, more sturdy, not only in your practice, but throughout your day. All great measurements. We're going to move along into the next level of measurement, being the mind, mentally. There we go. All right. So the mind, learning how to measure your yoga practice through the mind. Notice your thoughts as you arrive to your mat, becoming aware of your thoughts. You can start to notice how one day when you first start out, it may feel like a chore to come to your mat, to come and practice consistently. And then suddenly you'll notice that after day, after day, after day, after you get consistent and after you start keeping your commitments, that suddenly your mind doesn't fight you anymore. Maybe you even notice that your mind looks forward to your practice. It looks forward to getting onto your mat. So having that as a measurement, noticing in the mind that, it's getting easier and easier for me to do this practice mentally. Notice your thoughts. Are they supportive or are they challenging? So again, raising our awareness to that internal dialogue that exists and noticing if the thoughts, are they encouraging? Are they positive? The more, are you looking for the silver lining? Are you getting as stressed out as you once were? So that is a measurement. That's something that's measurable, mentally measurable. Observe a change in thoughts towards others. I mean, we can measure that. Are you more patient at work? Are you kinder with your words? Are you softer? Are you more compassionate? That's all how you interact and how your yoga ripples out into your life. A release of judgment. So as we come to our mat, we learn to accept ourselves. And as that acceptance sinks into our own being, we're able to extend that beyond ourselves outside and accept and judge and love others more. Judge less, love more. Ease of forgiveness, noticing if you're able to release a grudge, noticing if you're able to let go of those grudges, to forgive more easily. This is in the mind, easing the thoughts, finding that peace of mind helps to cultivate, to nurture our ability to forgive. kind thoughts towards self and others. So shifting that mental dialogue to kindness from judgment. And through our practice, we are able to be more kind to ourselves on our mat. As we're going through whatever process it is that we're going through, we're able to reach for that kindness. So all of these things are measurable, because maybe you find it very difficult when you start your practice, again, raising your awareness to thinking those kind thoughts, to, being in that mentality, in that space. So your mindfulness, being aware of your thoughts, that's what being mindful is, being aware of your thoughts. You can measure that day in, day out. Are you aware? Are you present? Clarity. Are you able to have clear thoughts throughout the day? That's measurable. We can sometimes be in a brain fog, and that can come from hormonal imbalances, that can come from blockages in our bloodstream, blockages in our spinal column, blockages in our body, anywhere. And so having our practice can really help remove those blockages, and our brain actually begins to get more clear thoughts. Focus is the next one. Focused thoughts. Now our mind is like a muscle, and as we focus our thought, we exercise that muscle. So when we come to our mat and we focus our thought on our mats, we're exercising that muscle. And each day that gets easier and easier for us to focus our mind, because that muscle, that mind muscle, is getting exercised and getting stronger and stronger. Awareness, calmness of the mind, calmness of the thoughts, peace, finding that inner peace. Are your thoughts peaceful? Are you thinking peaceful thoughts? Processing information. That's another way that we can measure. So it's almost like, the absorption of information. Also something that our practice can really help to stabilize that processing ability. The speed of our mind. How quickly can we recall information? How quickly can we recall the words we're looking for? How quickly can we recall memories? This is great for your memory. These are all things that are measurable through your practice. And all it takes is for you to take note, then notice, then be aware as you move forward as to how your mind is changed by your practice. We'll move along, coming into our emotional awareness. Emotional awareness. All right, so how do we measure that emotional awareness in our practice? We increase our ability to identify and address our emotions. So as we gain emotional intelligence, and as we gain that emotional intelligence through focus, through practice, but also through feeling, actually just coming to our mat, and our practice naturally unlocks our emotions. That's what happens. Our practice naturally unlocks our emotions. And so as that happens, we're able to identify, I feel this way. I feel this way. I feel this coming up within me. Once we are able to feel it, we're able to address it. Well, where is this feeling coming from? What has triggered this feeling inside of me? So we can address those emotions instead of numb them, instead of stuff them down, instead of pretending that they don't exist. We can actually feel them. You must feel it to heal it. I love this saying. It's a philosophy that in order for us to heal our emotional distress, our emotional pain, or even just to stay consistently happy, we have to allow ourselves to feel. So you have to feel it to heal it. the ability to release emotions with ease. Because we're down on our mat and we're in our practice, we're able to release emotions. As we exhale and we lean into the body can release tension, and tension is often caused by our emotional standpoint or emotions that are stuck within our body. And as we stretch and lean into those areas, we're able to release those emotions and process them. Access deeper hidden emotions. So sometimes we're not even aware. Sometimes we've stuffed things down, we've hidden those emotions, and they are below the surface. Our practice helps us to bring those emotions to the surface. Our practice allows us to cultivate wanted emotions. So again, as we focus the mind when we come to our mat, and as we bring ourselves to that happy frame of mind, to that joyful frame of mind, we are able to choose our emotions. Instead of having our emotions control us, we are able to consciously choose and cultivate emotions on our mat. That means when we practice it on our mat, we can go out into the world and practice it off of our mat. Through your practice, you're able to ease tension caused by emotional stress. So if you've ever been very stressed, maybe you feel a lot of tension in your shoulders. That tension, we can release that tension through our practice, releasing our shoulders down, working through the shoulders. That's what we're doing when we're working into the shoulders. We're working into that tension, and that is emotional tension. So through our practice, we're able to work through that emotional tension and release it. So we can measure our awareness. How aware are you of your emotions? Do you blow up and then realize, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how upset I was? Or are you able to calmly identify and communicate your emotions because you're aware, because you have that awareness? Access, emotional access. We can measure that as well. You can measure by checking in. How am I feeling? Getting curious, even especially when you're on your mat throughout your practice. Identification. You may think that you have like an emotional scale of like three emotions. No, our emotional scale is so colorful. It's so broad. And as we go through our practice and as we raise our awareness to subtle sensations, we are able to identify what we really feel. That's measurable. Embodiment, facing fear, identifying fear, and working through fear through our practice. So that fear doesn't have to do anything with yoga necessarily. But as we come to our mat, we are able to process any emotion, no matter what it is. Openness. So as we open the heart, as we open the chest, we're able to really openly feel. And that is something that's measurable. I'm aware of my feelings. I'm open with my feelings, because when you're on your mat, you get used to feeling those feelings. Healing emotions. You have to feel to heal. Again, that's measurable. One day you may feel depressed and you just can't do anything. And then the next, you feel a little lighter, just a little lighter. You're healing. You're in a healing process. And our practice really helps to cultivate that. So that's measurable, measuring your healing, understanding your emotions, releasing your emotions. I have shed many tears on my mat, many, because this practice helps to create that release. I tell students that one of the biggest compliments as a yoga teacher is tears on your mat, because you have reached the point, you've taken down the barriers that you've built around those emotions and you've been able to access them. And in order to heal, you have to feel. So you're in the feeling process. You're in the process of releasing those emotions. A safe space to feel. That's what this practice is. And you can measure how safe you feel in your space by how much you feel. Intelligence, emotional intelligence, being aware, identifying, this is all encompassing, and then management of your emotions. So there's something that I learned, stop, look, choose, in one of the many self-development courses that I took. And instead of letting my emotions control me and control my reactions, I have the awareness to stop, to feel, and to choose my reaction. Moving along into the spiritual aspect. How does our yoga practice benefit us spiritually? How does our yoga... So, our yoga practice helps us to connect to that higher self through our practice. And what I love about this practice, and some people may disagree with this, but to me, it doesn't matter what devotion you have. It doesn't matter, if you believe in God, if you believe in Buddha, if you believe in evolution, you can practice yoga. And you can connect to your higher self, and you can connect to the divine. How do you do that? Through your practice, through focus, through that opening of the heart, through that deepening of understanding. Through our practice, we are creating the space for guidance to emerge. So guidance from that higher power to come to the surface. As we find stillness, but also as we move the body begins to unlock. Yoga means union, and it is a union of the body, the mind, the heart, the soul, the spirit, and the higher self, and the divine. Focus on intentional devotion. So as we come to our mat, as we create our intention, as we focus, we are able to intentionally devote our practice. And that deepens our devotion to that divinity. Any type of devotion, any type of devotional practice will help deepen our devotion. It's the practice of anything. You do it more, it deepens your understanding. Develop of rituals of connection and care. So as we develop our habits and develop the rituals, you come to your mat, you press your palms together, you feel the energy within you connect through your crown to that higher divinity. You feel that energy, you align the body with that energy, consciously being aware of that, intentionally being aware of that. That is how you connect. And then that guidance bubbles to the surface as you clear out your energy. As we clear out the emotional energy, we're really able to connect to that divinity. Gentleness in appreciation of being. So being gentle with ourselves and knowing that there is trust and faith in, through our practice, that there is a presence of God, of divinity in our practice as we're present. And as we invite that divinity into our heart, into our practice, into our life and experience. Increase in access to connection. So as you get consistent, as you come to your mat, you increase your access by showing up, by creating that devotional ritual to connect to sinking into listening to the heart, to listening to the spirit that speaks to you and through you. So how do we measure that? We measure that by the ease of guidance. So how easy it is for you to connect and receive guidance. Connection is another one. How easy is it for you to connect to that guidance, to that inner being, to that higher self, to that God being, that divinity? As you come and get consistent, it becomes easier and easier to just feel that presence in your life. Devotion, focus, prayer. You can pray on your mat. You can be grateful, connecting to gratitude, thanking divine, thanking God for your practice, for your body, for your experience, for anything that you want to be thankful for. Acceptance of what you have the power to change and what you don't. That acceptance is cultivated on the mat through your practice, and it ripples into the acceptance of your path, that God is always present in your life, guiding you forward, watching over you. Philosophy, a development of a deeper idea, a deeper knowing. That is a way, the deepening of that is measurable. So you can measure the deepening of your understanding, not only of your practice, but of your faith through your practice. Mindfulness, you can measure your open heart, that connection, your alignment with God, really feeling that presence, really feeling that alignment with Him, with divinity, with your divine purpose. Forgiveness. I believe that that is a gift that God has taught us and continues to teach us. So that's something that we practice when we come to our mat, that forgiveness. And joy. Joy is one of my favorite feelings. And that's when I feel like spirit is moving through me most, when I feel joyful. So this is all the ways that you can measure your progress through your practice, keeping you motivated, keeping you focused. Moving into our final category of measurement, overall wellness. So our overall wellness, there's a lot of different ways to look at that. How do you measure overall wellness? Management of symptoms and conditions causing health issues. So overall wellness, like maybe you have diabetes, maybe you have high blood pressure, maybe you have arthritis, maybe you have some health conditions that, that you're dealing with. And through your practice, you're able to manage those conditions more easily. And that's something that's measurable. Maybe you go in for your yearly routine physical and your doctor says, you're looking really great. Your numbers are really great. We can take you down on this dosage, or maybe even hopefully take you off medication entirely. I believe in modern medicine, but I also believe in the wisdom of the body. I believe that our body knows how to heal us. And yes, we need modern medicine. I am not against modern medicine. Please, please, please don't make that mistake. But our body still can support us every step of the way. And it has guidance within it every step of the way. Stress management and release. When I realized that my yoga practice was directly connected to my stress management, and I could feel myself stress less, game changer. I was on my mat every day, no questions. All of a sudden, that was my priority, because to me, you may have a different belief, but to me, stress is inevitable. We were interacting with others. We are growing, and stress is an indication of growth, and growth is great. We're here to grow. We're here to learn. That's part of our purpose here on earth, here in this physical human body, having this human experience. We are here to grow. God wants us to grow, So through that growth, we're going to experience stress, because I don't know, honestly, I don't know if we can grow without stress, without something sparking that growth. So yoga, you can manage and you can measure that. You can measure your stress. You can measure how you manage your stress, how you accept your stress, how you move through your stress. Do you project your stress or can you manage it on your own? Increase in presence. I love this for overall health because you're more present in your relationships. You're more present with your family. You're more present in your work because you're more present on your mat. That's how you bring it off of your mat. Bring that presence into each moment because being present on your mat is just about being present in the moment. Finding the tools, developing the tools to help you to be present. There is so much beauty in the living moment. And being present, the more you can feel present, the more you can feel joy, the more you can feel happiness. Alignment of priorities through connection to heart and higher self. So as we open our heart, we're able to see our priorities in a different way because our heart is open and we're not blocking off the energy of love. We're aligning with that energy of love. We're connecting to the heart. And as the heart's able to express itself, our priorities change. We realize that the things that we once thought were important are not so important because the heart is only concerned with love. Again, sit with that. The heart is only concerned with love. So you can measure that. You can measure a shift in your priorities. Suddenly work is not number one. Suddenly family, love, friendship, relationships. You see the beauty, the value because your heart is open. Change in cravings and eating habits. This happens naturally as you deepen your practice, as you make your commitments and keep your commitments to your practice. You'll notice yourself wanting different foods. That affects your overall health. That's an absolute indicator and it's measurable. Maybe you find yourself reaching for almonds instead of, I don't know, some sugary granola bar. Maybe, your cravings switch from sugar or chocolate or, to something like fruit. You're starting to crave more greens. You're starting to want more water. Tapping into that hydration. Release of addictions through change in neural pathways. So as we come to our mat and we focus our thought and we exercise our mind, we're creating new neural pathways in the mind, new forms of thought, new ideas. And as we do that, we're going to notice that we're able to manage and release habits, ideas that don't serve us. So noticing a shift there because of your practice, that is measurable. An increase in patience in your work, with your family, with yourself. This is huge and you can notice. And maybe your family will begin to notice too and mention and say things like, that you're just more present, you're more patient. Overall, more love, joy, and happiness. Just feeling lighter. In my mind, when we come to our mat, we brighten our light. So if you imagine a light bulb and it gets dimmed because it gets layers of dust, it gets layers of darkness. That darkness can be stress, criticism, judgment. And as we come to our mat, we wipe off that darkness. We shine up our light and we start to shine, and that shines through. And that light helps us, allows us to feel happiness, to feel joy, to feel love. So these are all the ways that you can measure your practice. Now, the final component is the how. How do I measure my practice. So I have 5 suggestions, 5 ways for you to measure your practice. First, start a journal. Journal about your experience. Journal about your body, your mentality, your emotional state. Journal about your spiritual connection, overall wellness. Write it down. You can use a journal, like it can be in your phone, it can be on your computer, or you can write it down. For me, when I write things down, there's a lot of power in being physical with writing it down. It helps to clarify my mind. It helps me to, understand. It deepens my understanding. I don't know why, but writing pen to paper is really effective. So write down your experience through your yoga practice. Now, how that's going to benefit you is as you move forward and maybe you fall off. Maybe you quit your commitments altogether because life gets too busy and you want to come back. Reference that. Journal those journal entries. Let your own experience be your motivation. Don't let other people need to motivate you. Let your own experience of your practice, the changes you experience, be your motivation. Number 2, how do you measure your consistency? How often are you getting to your mat? That is so measurable. Are you getting to your mat 2 times, 1 time, 3 times, 4 times? How much are you practicing? Your consistency is a very measurable tool, and write it on the calendar. Write it on the calendar when you make it to class. Write it on the calendar when you intend to come to class. Again, make commitments. Your commitments are another measurable thing. Now, the power in keeping commitments, it's not just about keeping commitments to your practice. It's about keeping commitments to yourself. It's about keeping commitments to others. And what that does is it helps you to trust yourself more. It helps you to align with your authenticity, with your integrity. When you keep your commitments, it completely transforms the way that you live, the way that you see yourself. And that is measurable. How often are you keeping commitments? You can measure that. You can journal about it. Create a ritual or a routine. This is really powerful because when things become ritual or routine, they become habit. So suddenly it's not this big push to get to class. It is actually like it's just natural. You don't have to think about it so much. You don't have to push yourself to get there. And then get the support that you need, that you want. So maybe that looks like a yoga buddy where you say to each other, okay, we're going to do yoga this week 3 times, okay? I'm going to hold you accountable. You're going to hold me accountable. Everybody's had a buddy before, but I want you to know that I am your support system. I am here to support you in any way that I can to help you in your practice, to help you get consistent. I am here. I'm here to answer questions. I am a part of your support system. Now, all of this is great information, right? Great information. And what the final step is, and the final step is for you to write down one measurement that you are going to make in each of the 5 categories. Take note, write it down. What are you going to measure? Choose one thing. Start with that and see how you go. So maybe for the mind, you choose mindfulness and you choose to be present, be mindful, being mindful of the body, being mindful of the breath, being mindful of the thoughts, being mindful of the mind. Maybe that's what you choose. Maybe you choose flexibility. You really want to measure your flexibility, and that's what you focus on. Where focus goes, energy flows. And just notice how once you start measuring, how you become aware, how that shifts. So choose one thing, write it down, get clear, get present, and make that your measuring stick. Then check in. We'll check in once a week. And I'll say, how's your measurement going? And then you'll be able to experience progress in your yoga practice in the way that you desire. So that wraps everything up. Thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave a comment or reach out to me via email, or Facebook Messenger is another great way to reach me. So let's bring our hands together, lengthen the spine, palms come together. Press the palms, the lower palms together. Press the pads of the fingers together. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, release. We're going to chant Satnam one time. Deep inhale. Satnam. Flutter your eyes open. Thank you so much for being here. The light in me sees, honors, reflects, and encourages the light in each of you. Namaste. See you again soon. Bye.